Welcome to the Omni Talk Fast Five, sponsored by Takeoff and the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The Omni Talk Fast Five is the podcast that we hope each week makes you a little smarter and feel a little bit happier too. It is December 16th. I am your host, Chris Walton.
I'm Ann Mazinga.
And we are here to bring you our favorite show of the year, our annual look back at 2021, and to hand out some hardware. And because it is time to give out our annual Omni Talk Retail Awards. Are you ready for this?
I am. Are you? You're sounding better than last week.
I'm sounding marginally better. Yes, I am sounding marginally better. But fortunately, we brought in some ringers today to help us give out these awards. And so I am pleased to introduce two of our all-time favorite guests on our show.
I feel like we need a montage. Like when they give away the Emmy Awards, it's like, let's show Kristen and Dave and like all these like laughing, joking episodes from the past year that they've been a part of the Omni.
Right.
So this is a podcast. So try to imagine that happening before we introduce them.
Right. They've been on the show like 3 or 4 times each. But yes, without further ado, we have Kristen Kohler-Burrows and David Ritter of the A&M Consumer and Retail Group joining us today. Kristen and David, how are you?
We are great. I thought you were going to say a montage of like plaid shirts, given that, that's
we should have done the plaid shirts today, Lumberjack Dave. Don't you think?
Hey, it's the end of the year. It's a new me. So I'm excited to be here.
Next year we'll be much better prepared.
Style.
Yes.
Yeah. Next year we will coordinate our outfits for those watching our video and for those listening on the podcast, who would actually find no value in us doing that whatsoever.
I bet they would feel the warmth of the flannel coming through the microphone.
They would feel the warmth. I think you're right, Ann. I think you're right. So a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. We are off for the next 2 weeks. So we're taking a break.
Yes.
Holidays are coming. New Year's coming. So we'll be back better than ever, or hopefully at least better than your expectations, starting the first week in January as we gear up for NRF, which, as we said last week, some big efforts going on there. We're going to be live streaming like crazy. Then we go to Manifest. Busy January. I can't wait for it, Ann. I don't know about you.
2022 is going to start off with a bang to replace 2021, which was it was a difficult Omni Talk year. We survived, Chris.
Kind of a downer year.
You especially.
A stroke,
actually survived.
I'm barely hanging on right now with the boys, but we got through it. And this is going to be a great show. So for those listening, David and Kristen, and we've got a slew of awards we're going to hand out based on all the retail news we saw this past year. None of us know what each other's going to say. So this is going to be totally spontaneous. And quite honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see where we line up and where we diverge in our opinions. And I can't wait for it. So let's get right to it, I think. Ann, Dave, Kristen. All right, let's go. First category, we're going to start off with a bang. As Ann said, Retailer of the Year. Kristen, why don't you go first?
Oh, you're picking me first, huh?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Ladies first, as always.
Look, I think, first of all, when I thought about how was I actually going to evaluate, what was the framework to pick the Retailer of the Year, one of my key points was, what happened to the stock, assuming it's a public retailer?
Right. That's kind of an important point. Yes.
Kind of an important one. And beyond that, what sort of bold moves did this retailer make to not only survive, but thrive during COVID?
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I've always got to go back to my roots, which is in shoes.
Okay.
So I am picking Crocs.
Crocs, really? So no personal bias going into this one. Okay. Crocs.
Right.
Why Crocs? What is your rationale?
Oh, stock price up 130% this year. Figured out really how to tap into kind of the cultural zeitgeist of being different, right? Which certainly engaged not only millennials, but the Gen Z population. Made bold moves of getting out of certain wholesale distribution, obviously had right-sized their store fleet, doubled down on digital. And look, they're also making a sustainability play, with ThredUp. And on top of that, have pitched, I think by 2025, to make even much more significant gains in the sustainability front. So I'm all about Crocs.
Okay. I got to tell you, it's feeling a little like my Peloton pick last year.
It is
one that I tend to regret looking back on things, but all right, let's see who else we got here. Ann, what about you?
Well, Kristen, I got to ask first, are you like a pro Crocs wearing and pro Crocs stock? Because that's going to determine how I feel about you.
Actually, I'm not a Croc wearer.
Okay. Thank God.
All
right.
But I do have a family of Crockers.
Yes. Okay. Likewise. But yes, I think that's a great pick. I was not expecting.
It's definitely, I hadn't considered them, but yeah, I mean, when you look at the stock price, that's pretty impressive. But Ann, what did you think?
Okay. My Retailer of the Year is Albertsons.
Albertsons.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I picked Albertsons because number one, Chris Rupp, like that woman is just killing it. I know we're going to say CEO of the year. I wish I could pick Chief Digital and Customer Officer of the year because that woman I think she's just tearing stuff up over there.
Yeah.
They are doing, they have
Pretty
done
innovative.
tons of tests this year with Instacart and other third-party delivery providers. They are testing fast. They are putting everything out there and they are pulling it back when it's not working. They just launched the new micro fulfillment center in the Jewel Osco in Chicago, right down the street from Amazon, which I think is another smart move. They're doing the most, I think, in terms of tech to be defensible against Amazon Fresh and the threat to grocery that provides. And then lastly, I think, we talked about it earlier in the year, the automated kiosk that they did with Cleveron in the parking lot of Jewel Osco. Also, Chris Rupp said in her interview when I did with her, she's like, we are trying to make food, which is a very personal thing, so much simpler for families. We're trying to bank on convenience and make life better for our customers. And I really think that they did that this year.
Yeah, I like that. That was actually my second pick, believe it or not.
Oh.
Yeah. And the stock price too, up double where it
Yes.
was this time last year.
Yes.
So I think 15 versus 30 now, as I just looked that up. But yeah, they were my second pick. So
Who was your first pick?
you want me to tell you now, or do you want to go hear what Dave has to say?
Let's
first?
go with Dave first.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
'Cause I want to see if Dave has mine. I want to see if you picked mine. I'm curious.
All right, so mine is Lululemon.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think
You guys
you have
both
to
come
add
with the
some-
apparel companies. All right.
I think you have to add some context of what a crazy year it's been for Lulu. They did a mirror acquisition. Their Peloton partnership melted down and resulted in a lawsuit. They're facing supply chain issues and labor issues. And yet they still managed to deliver a record year. I don't know if you guys saw, but their Q3 revenue was up 30%, and it's not on a small base. We're talking billions.
Mhm.
Yep.
And underneath that, if you peel it back, their men's business is exploding. So the men's business is up 44%. So they've really cracked how to expand into men's. And you can also see that their international is taking off. So the international expansion plans are going incredibly well. So I think in the face of some real serious headwinds and challenges, their ability to execute and deliver has just been amazing this year.
Okay, interesting. They were my pick for 2019, and if you remember back that far. Yeah, Dave, I have one question for you though. Like, what do you think about the mirror acquisition? They pretty much lowered the expectations pretty handedly in that last earnings statement. What do you think about
crazy.
that? Does that put any dent into how you're feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the mirror acquisition is going to take time, right? It certainly hasn't kind of taken off at the rate that they expected. But nonetheless, I think, if you had asked anyone if they'd be up 30% on a $1.5 billion base this quarter, right, most people would be excited. So I think the stock market's reaction might be a little bit, emotional.
Okay. So the mirror, the performance of mirror doesn't reflect in your opinion on them. Get what I did there? See that? Yeah, that was good. Huh? All right. Awesome. All right. Well, all right.
Yeah, I gotta say that ABC jogger is like the uniform of the suburban male, right? Like on the baseball fields, lacrosse fields, football fields. It's very hard to transition from a women's brand to a brand that also is equally or as successful in men. So Dave, I would high five you on that one.
All right. So good. I think all these picks are pretty solid so far. Wow. I'm shocked though that none of us matched up on retailer of the year. It shows you how many retailers did really well. Okay. My pick is actually Kroger. Ooh. So Kroger stock price done very well. Looked it up, $31 about a year ago. Now at $45 a share. I think the reason I signaled them out is because I think they did a total baller move going into Florida and New York by way of the Ocado automation.
Oh God, you love them for that so much.
I do. I mean, they don't have stores and they're saying, hey, we're going to do this. Yeah. Meanwhile, Walmart's trying it in a different way, like trying to go into New York with Instacart, which I think is just laughable given what Kroger's doing. And Kroger's also seemingly from sources experimenting with smaller versions of either the Ocado concept or some different type of automation to get to their more traditional markets as well. Yeah. And so I just think it shows, they've got a handle on where things are going next. So I give them a lot of credit. David, what do you think though?
I mean, I think even over and above that, Kroger going into alternative revenue streams like media and marketing and data, they're very cutting edge. So I think it's a smart pick.
Smart pick. All right. I got the A&M validation on the smart pick. Yeah. I like that.
All right.
You want to do CEO of the year? Yes. And why don't you start with CEO of the year?
Okay. So CEO of the year, I was going to give it to Brian Cornell, but it's so obvious. Like that's
We
just
can't
the-
homer it though. I mean,
no,
that's just the way
but
we work.
everybody is giving. NRF gave him the like
Yeah.
visionary of the year. Everybody's going there. So I this is one where I was like, no. We're gonna do a little bit more digging. So I'm picking Lauren Hobart of Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh,
yes,
solid
she
pick.
is the
Solid pick.
first non-family member and first female CEO that they've had, joining the ranks of the very few female CEOs in the retail industry. But namely, I think that she should be recognized for what she's done since she's joined in February 2021 as the CEO, or not joined, she's been there, but as she was named CEO in February. They are doing tons of cool experiential formats, new store formats that they've rolled out this year. The giant partnership recently with Nike where they're going to be like in lockstep with their loyalty programs. Plus, I think that as you know, they continue to, she's pushed a lot of youth sports programs and kind of bringing that into Dick's Sporting Goods, which I think when you talk about who's still going to those stores is going to be critical to their growth strategy. You know, putting batting cages in there, being that destination for youth sports every season, I think is going to be
That's
huge.
a great pick, Ann. I love that too, because it's a CEO whose name's not on the tip of our tongue. Like so many of them are almost ad nauseum a lot of times. I think that's great. David, what's your pick here? Did you go with the same one for retailer of the year, or did you try to change it up like we did?
I did go in line with Ann's last pick. So I went with Vivek Sankaran at Albertsons.
Oh, yeah.
Many of the things that Ann said. I think one thing just that a lot of people don't know is Albertsons was just starved of capital and innovation for years with private equity backing. And what Vivek and his team have done is pretty amazing. Everything from their omni-channel strategy with micro-fulfillment centers and the partnerships that Ann was alluding to. I particularly like the DoorDash partnership where it's a restaurant plus kind of grocery top-up, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yep.
But he's also done some just blocking and tackling things in fresh produce and meat and improved that offer. They're starting to have higher penetration in fresh than dry, which is always a good sign that, the customer satisfaction is so highly linked to fresh and grocery that ends up being a real marker of health. So I think their year has been amazing.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool that you guys linked up on that by way
People
of that route.
love him too.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone we've talked to who work with Albertsons, they speak very highly of Vivek. So yeah.
And he's kind of quiet too. Like, he's kind of one that is not on everyone's tip of the tongue too, like Brian Cornell, for example.
Yes.
All right, I'll go next. Kristen, we'll save you for last. I actually picked Nike CEO John Donahoe.
Okay.
And again, for that reason, I was thinking back, like what company's done really well. And I'd actually single out Nike too. And he's not somebody that gets a lot of attention. Like I actually had to, consciously think, who is the CEO of Nike now? He's only been in the role since 2020. But like bold moves, you mentioned it, like cut ties with wholesalers. Last week, they announced they're cutting ties with DSW. They've got the partnership with Dick's, doing all the great omni-channel foundational things that I think one needs to do. Then this week they buy, what is it? The RTFKT brand to build shoes in the metaverse. Like that's just, something that's super cool. And had you told me my last point I would make, as you told me what company is going to be most impacted by the pandemic, going into the pandemic, I would have said Nike because of the wholesale partners and the channels that they have going on and what the impact of physical retail would have been to them.
Right.
But seemingly they've averted that fairly well. So that was my pick. But Kristen, what do you think?
All right. Well, I got to go with Sarah Blakely of Spanx. Right.
Oh, yeah. She had a good year.
Great year. And not only, I think, has she really led the company in successfully diversifying their assortment. And I think she would say, right, lifting butts everywhere across all product categories. It's not only what she's done with Spanx, but I think just as importantly, or not even more so, like how she does it. I think she leads with grit. She leads with humility. She leads with humor. And now with the sale to Blackstone, to an all women's team at Blackstone, they're going to put together an all women's board, obviously really supporting female entrepreneurs. And then on top of all that, right, with the sale of the company, she gives every employee $10,000 in round trip tickets. I mean, I just think, she shows tremendous leadership across the board.
Yeah, most admirable CEO of 2021 for sure. This is a great show, and we've never done this where we've had this many topics already or awards, and we've not doubled up on a single one.
I know, I'm shocked.
I love it too, because so much on the show, we're so candid and frank and very pointed in our criticism. It's cool to celebrate all of this activity so widely.
Yes, I'm sure our listeners appreciate it.
Yeah, they're probably like, oh my God, this is totally different. All right, David, let's go to you now first on this one. Retail Technology of the Year. Who wins that award for you?
I'm going to be very predictable on this. I think the three of you could probably have guessed what I would say, but I'm going with Just Walk Out Technology.
You are? Okay.
Absolutely. I think, it has gone from kind of Star Wars, Star Trek, never going to happen discussions to real pilots. You've got Amazon Go now in their fresh stores, which is a bigger box. You've got a partnership with Starbucks that's coming, which I think is going to be groundbreaking. You've got Grabango and Circle K, Giant Eagle, and now 10 BP stores, a 10-store rollout. You got Trigo and Tesco and Rahway. And Standard is the only one that I don't really get, but they launched a new partnership with the Boston Woo Sox.
Yeah, right.
That one is that's a bit of a stretch for me, but I mean, I think the fact that we're already to 10-store pilots is starting to suggest that we're crossing the chasm, and this is going from just kind of fiction to real opportunity.
Yeah, and Trigo today announced another store, their third store in 3 months with Netto in Germany, like crazy. Yeah, funny. That was going to be my pick, but I thought it was kind of the easy pick. So I actually said there was a tie between that and actually I would say the BNPL trend. Buy now, pay later has exploded, like statistics wise, I think up 400% over 2019. Yeah. But the point I would make is I think this is only going to explode even more next year when we look back. I feel like I've picked computer vision for the last like 3 years, if I remember right. So I want to do something different. But the reason I say that is it's not yet predominant in terms of how you pay for things when you're in store.
Right.
And with 80 to 90% of the volume still happening in stores for most retailers, once that happens, this trend is just going to explode. And quite honestly, I think it's a better way to pay for most customers when you look at how credit works.
Right.
Now, there's all kinds of questions you could have around it, but I think net, if you want to use a credit instrument, it's a much better one than a traditional credit card. And so it's going to explode.
Yeah. There's so much more flexibility in the options. And that I think, and we were even talking about that this week, like there's so many more opportunities for retailers to take this on. And for the companies that are entering the space to just keep flexing with all of the options for payment that there are, like not just the ones we know today, not the 4 installments, but like,
And I think Square's acquisition of Afterpay for $20+ billion this year really signaled that this is here. But all right, Kristen, what was your pick? Retail Technology of the Year.
I'm going to go for an oldie but newbie.
Okay.
Let me explain for a second.
Okay.
Obviously, sustainability, huge focus, ESG overall, sustainability in particular. Within that, one avenue of delivering sustainability is the circular economy, and always thinking about, having the end in mind with your product. One of the biggest enablers of that is RFID technology.
All right. Yeah. I love
So I'm going with RFID because I think it's been around for a while, but I think now is its time to really, fully catch hold, not only for the benefits of what it can do for retailers' inventory planning, et cetera, supply chain planning, but also what it can deliver in terms of a more sustainable future.
Awesome. Now, are you saying that too, based on your background as a consultant, what you've seen in terms of interest level from the companies you're working with over this past year? Like, have you seen a renewed interest in RFID? I mean, Ann and I have been predicting that, for about the better part of the last 6 to 9 months. Would you say that's true, or are we thinking about that the wrong way?
I think it goes both ways. We're certainly introducing it more and more as part of the conversation, as sort of, a key solver and a problem solver for some of our clients, and the reception has been much stronger.
Okay, awesome. All right, Ann, I think you have the final word here on Retail Technology of the Year.
I do. Dave and I are synced up. I picked Checkout Free Retail last year, but I mean, there is nothing that I think will be more impactful than what we saw, like Dave said, this year. Especially, I think the only other thing I would add to is the retailers who are partnering with Amazon to bring it in. Like that's how big of a move this is. We're seeing Sainsbury's, the Hudson News team and OTG that that are bringing this. They're hiring Amazon. They're giving everything away to Amazon.
With Palm payment now, too.
Yes.
Did you see that this week?
Just to provide that technology. So I think that, that's undeniable. But Kristen's RFID is a good second, I think, for me.
Yeah, I think if I had to do mine over again, I think I'd still go computer vision, even though I picked it like the last 3 or 4 years running. But all right, let's keep moving. All right, Kristen, back to you. This is my favorite category of all. Well, maybe my second favorite category. If you stay to the end, we've got a really fun one that we've got planned at the end. What is, in your opinion, the most overhyped technology of 2021?
I just cannot get my arms around virtual reality, and for a simple reason is those things just look so weird on your head. And I just don't know. I don't know if consumers are really willing to endure that and not, especially, coming from fashion, not looking sort of hip, cool, etc. For the benefit, are they really willing to trade that off for the possible benefits? I just don't. I don't see it.
Interesting. Anne, what do you think about that comment from Kristen?
I can understand it, Kristen. I think that it's here. I just cannot. It's something we all better just figure out how to wrap our heads around, because especially this next generation, it is cool. It is an accessory for them. They're like, my kid just went to like 6 birthday parties at the VR lab and everybody's doing it. Like it's just the new hot thing. And they think that's a normal thing to have on their face, I guess.
I used to feel that way. I think I said this on the program a couple weeks ago. I used to feel that way until I put the goggles on with all my buddies when I was out at Stanford's big game like a month ago, and totally changed my opinion of the whole thing. But
are you saying that I'm acting like an old lady? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not saying that. I'll let you put your own words in your mouth, Kristen. I'll let you put your own words in your mouth. But all right, moving on. David, what's yours?
So mine is third-party marketplaces.
Yes.
So we started this year advising our clients that you got to be where the customers are. You need to be on all the marketplaces. And that has transitioned to everyone launching a marketplace.
Right, which is 2 different things, right?
Which is 2 very different things. Amazon, Alibaba, like places where customers are, it makes a lot of sense for retailers and brands to participate.
Yes.
I think in the last month, we've seen Hudson's Bay, Land's End, and UNFI, Grocery Wholesale, launch their own marketplaces. The name of the game in marketplaces is traffic. So I just don't understand how these lower traffic type sites expect for a marketplace to really move the needle. It just feels like we've gotten a little bit proliferated from a marketplace perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I could not agree more. That was my pick too. So the
and
first
mine.
and Anne's.
Yeah.
So first time we've tripled up on this one. Yeah. I don't have much more to add. I just think, why do I want a dog's breakfast of all the different things I can get at a Kroger or a J. Crew or, Giant Food like we talked about last week. I'm with you. I can't make sense of it. Seems like way over.
I think we're
overhyped.
going to see those resources quickly get shifted to retail media networks and focusing on how they can capture the customer with those teams and those assets and that money versus, this experience. It was easy. It was easy to like throw something together and just be like, okay, we're going to bring in this person and test it. And now I think you're right, Dave.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And having been through this ourselves, Anne, what I would tell people, if you happen to be working on a marketplace at one of those companies, be very, very careful and have your resume ready, because you don't know what's coming next. Should Anne's prediction come true, you might not have a great landing spot. All right, let's do headline of the year. Anne, I think we're back to you now.
Oh, all right. Well, mine was that Amazon opened a fully autonomous grocery store. This is just going to hit us over the head, you guys. 2022, I think, is going to be the year where Amazon redefines grocery. It's insane. That's all I have to say.
That's yours. Okay. The full
Mic
scale.
drop.
That is a huge achievement. 100%. David, what did you say?
I said supply chain disruptions. And I think,
a broader
I think
headline. Okay.
Right. I just think that the dramatic impact this has had across all retail formats is going to have long lasting impacts. It's going to impact sourcing strategies, logistics strategies for years to come. Made in America could actually become a much bigger deal based solely on that disruption. So I think it could have a profound impact for the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay. Oh, wow. Say more. Why do you think for the next 10 to 20
Well,
years?
I just don't think that there's ever been a disruption at this scale.
Okay.
And the cost benefits of outsourcing or offshoring to Asia and getting your product from abroad when you can't get it has caused retailers to really think about their footprint of both manufacturing and sourcing. So I think we'll start to see a more balanced more balanced sourcing strategies where people are dual sourcing or bringing at least some stuff back to the US.
So your prediction then, if I read it between the lines, you're saying like we don't necessarily catch up on the supply chain gaps that we're seeing now. Like it's not just going to return to normal.
Well, I think it's almost behavioral, right? Like if you think about how the folks that went through the Great Depression, it actually changed their behavior for the whole year, for their whole lives. I think that retailers and merchants right now not being able to get product for holidays, it's going to have a profound impact on how they go about their business moving forward.
Interesting.
And the fact that like supply chain became a common vernacular among customers. Like nobody is ever talking at Thanksgiving dinner about supply chain shortages. Like that's not been a topic. And so I think Dave's right. Like not only is this going to impact the retailers, but I think it's impacting how customers are shopping and shaping kind of what their expectations are of shopping and where they're going to shop, where they're deciding to shop.
Yeah, absolutely. So the continued move from just in time to more of a contingency based supply chain approach is what Dave's signaling out there. All right, Kristen, what was yours?
So I also went with a broader based headline.
Okay.
But like Dave picked it because I really think it does have medium to long-term implications, and that's labor shortages, right?
Those are the two big things coming this year for sure.
Yeah. So what does it mean in terms of how retailers are going to, hire or retain employees? How is it going to shift the store labor model? How is it going to shift the DC labor model? For the first time in a long time, the employee is in charge, right? The employee has the upper hand. Which I also think has great implications potentially for a larger middle class, et cetera. So I am all about the labor shortages.
Okay, got it. So, and check this out. We have the two consultants on. Leave it to them to go macro level on the headline of the year. You and I dive deep into the weeds.
Into one headline. Specifically from August 22nd, 2021.
Right. That's why they do what they do and we do what we do. Yes. All right. Mine simply was, I could have gone to Amazon. I actually went Trigo and Tesco because I thought that was more important. I think I felt like I knew Amazon was coming. In fact, I predicted it last year that it was going to happen. Kudos to me for that one in Forbes. Yeah, thanks, Sam, for the pat on the back. But I think the Trigo and Tesco headline this year, the opening of the store in Hobart, signals that the industry is now getting the punchline to the joke that this is coming. At least a part of it is. And there's now technology providers that can help stand up the same type of operation that Amazon has, which I think is pretty important. All right, let's keep moving on. David, let's go to you. All right, let's see where you guys took this one. See if you stayed macro level or say if you went a little bit deeper. Headline that deserved more attention than it received in 2021.
Instacart shifting from pure delivery to being a SaaS provider to retailers.
Ooh, that's a good one. I wish I thought of that one.
I just think it signals that the profitability of a pure delivery model is pretty challenged. And I think that many of those companies, the DoorDashes and Instacarts of the world, are going to have to move into software as a service or data as a service to augment the less profitable businesses and get the kind of profit profile that they want.
Interesting. That's a really good pick. I might want to change my pick, like the Instacart not knowing what it needs to be when it grows up. I can't change my pick.
Dave and Kristen, the smart consultants, give their picks. Like,
why not? Why the hell not? Are there rules here? Are there rules in how I work?
I don't know.
All right, I'll go back to my original one. All right, so mine was actually Pop Shelf. I think the coming of Pop Shelf needs to get more attention. I was doing some research. So this is according to Corey Hale in Forbes. Just to give everyone a perspective, to remind everyone, Dollar General opened up 8 Pop Shelf stores between October 2020 and May 2021. The gross margin in those stores was reported 40%, which is 8 percentage points higher than a traditional Dollar General store. And the stores also had annualized sales ranging from $1.7 to $2 million per store, compared with $1.4 million for the traditional first-year Dollar General store when it opens. The chain now has 36 of them in operation. And don't forget that the income demographic they're targeting here is 125,000 plus. And they said they're going to open up 1,000, over the next few years. So that to me was the story. It kind of came on at the end here, but I think it's pretty damn big if they can get to those numbers.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. You're like, okay. Don't want to change your opinion though, huh?
I don't
right,
think
fine.
that's as groundbreaking.
You're not going to throw me a bone.
No.
All right. Well, what's yours then?
I said that, Ship's personal shopping service is what stole my headline, because of what Dave was saying. Instant delivery is a losing game. You cannot make money off of that. And so in order to be successful, you're going to have to figure out, all of these instant delivery providers, how you're going to differentiate yourselves. And I think that Shipt is providing personal shopping and concierge service for all. And that's how, whether or not that works, we'll have to see. But I think that they're the only ones that I think are really doing something to be different and to provide a higher level. They're going the higher level of service route versus the I can get it to you in 10 minutes route.
That's a great pick. Great pick. Sleeper pick too. Like I hadn't thought about that in a while. That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Kristen, what do you think?
So mine was around retailers as media companies, like Kroger's announcement. And it's really interesting because I think there are opportunities for both, vertically integrated retailers all the way to, multi-brand retailers in different ways, but thinking about how are you going to leverage, either leverage or engage the customer in your in-store, your customer or in-store in a different and unique way. And sort of extend your brand outward and create additional ways to make money. So I thought that one was really interesting. And I think thinking about, depending on what type of retailer you are, where the boundaries of that should be, I think will be an important next step.
Yeah, that's a great pick too.
Yeah.
Great high level pick again too. God, I love this show. Like this is this is like honestly my favorite show. Next year, the only thing that would make this better is if we were all in person. So we could all give each other slant eyes as we're talking like
and
Ann
drink
continues to do
champagne.
me. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We should toast. All right. I think this next award is quite honestly one where we're probably going to double up to some degree.
Yep.
And that is the best new partnership that we saw in 2021. I'll go first on this one. Really simply, I think it's Starbucks and Amazon Go.
Yep.
I think I sum it up this way. You get more options to eat at Starbucks than the plastic laminated food that's under that display case, which quite honestly is not that appealing to me. You get better operations by way of pickup only for Starbucks. Gives Amazon Go the traffic hook that it needs as well. And it's completely in line with what Starbucks does with nearly every other retailer. The one thing that I think people are kicking themselves for now, and I won't name any specific retailers, but there's a lot of retailers that probably have certain exclusivity written in their contracts who probably with Starbucks placements in their stores that probably never even fathomed Amazon opening up a physical store and didn't get ahead of that. And look where you are now. All right, David, what do you think?
I went with GoPuff and Uber. I think Uber Eats, you order it from a restaurant, you've got your food coming. It's very natural to want either convenience items and or alcohol at the same time. So I think it's a match made in heaven, and could be, I think it's a win-win for both. It gives, it builds on Uber's strong restaurant delivery business. And it's, I think it's from a brand building perspective, it opens GoPuff to a wider range of customers. So I think it's a brilliant partnership.
Awesome. Okay. Got it. Instant delivery making its appearance. All right. Kristen, what about you?
Well, I just have to say that I take offense to one of your Starbucks comments because I really love those egg sandwiches under that plastic case.
So does Ann.
Just saying.
It's all right. There's no shame in it.
So does my kid, actually.
Sometimes it's the best option of all of the options when you're traveling, Chris.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't disagree. I just want more options. So you can have all that. And if I want a bag of Doritos while I'm sitting there writing an article, I can have that too.
That's true. You want optionality. I get it.
Yes, 100%.
I get it. So I went with GNC and Walmart.
Okay.
I really like what the CEO of GNC, Josh Burris, is doing. I think he's really focused on kind of democratizing health and wellness for, the masses. At the same time, because of GNC's brand, they're also able to deliver really niche, sort of focused higher end products against, more of that elite level fitness person. So I thought this was a really big, bold move, especially considering they still have a partnership with Rite Aid.
Right.
So it's a huge growth strategy, channel expansion for them. And I love it.
It's a good call. I had forgotten about that partnership. Yeah, that was kind of earlier in the year. That's a good one. Ann, what about you?
I picked Starbucks and Amazon.
You did.
I think that is going to blow up. They both have the skill. Like they're the only ones who could partner and do that at scale so fast.
Yeah.
Like we're going to start seeing that, I think, just, blow up in the urban cores, but then it's an easy concept to put in any Starbucks anywhere in the world. Dave,
oh, come on. Counterpoint.
Well,
Here we
the
go.
thing I love about the Starbucks partnership is Amazon implicitly competes with almost every retailer. Starbucks is not one of them, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I was going to say that too. Exactly. There's no threat
So
there, right?
For me, it's a win-win. There's a ton of Starbucks locations, physical locations. So it's a match made in heaven. I agree. It would have been second place on my ballot.
Second place. All right. Good to know. Good to know. We haven't done that like second place. I mean, I guess I said it with Albertsons, but
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Wait,
And
there's
what
still-
do you? Oh, go ahead,
There's
Chrissy.
no silver. There's only gold. Remember?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. There is only gold when it comes to Omni Talk and handing out what we think
Yeah.
are the
Susan
awards.
Lucci would probably like that category too, but it's not going to happen.
Good reference, Ann. Good reference.
It's just
God,
you gotta.
the
only-
millennials are like, what?
only pick
Who's
one.
that?
You?
But yeah, no, it's a good reference. All right. I love it. You're wearing. Oh, nice. All right. You're gonna go first here. All right.
Okay.
All right. Best strategy move from a struggling retailer in 2021.
I picked Quick Lots going into an old Nordstrom anchor store in Hearst, Texas. I think you might have been
What,
out on
Quick
your.
Lots?
I think you might have been out when this
That was
happened.
quick.
Quick Lots is like
right.
a bargain bin,
Oh, right. Yeah.
like retailer that takes
Yeah.
returns from Amazon and Walmart, among many others. And they went into this old Nordstrom that closed in Hearst, Texas, and now they're selling all the return products. You just like go in there and there's like a bargain basement day. Each day there's a different, like all the bins are $7,
Yeah.
$6.
That's right. I remember
think
this
that
story.
As you start to think about like, again, why people are going to the mall anymore, like what's a place that you can use that much space? I think this is really cool and
Yeah.
could start to expand. Dave, I know one show that you did too with us. I remember we were talking about like how this expands if like Best Buy tried to do this, or if Amazon starts to open return centers in malls, and what the opportunity is. I think people are going to start to see this is a reason why people will go. This is a good use of those giant anchors that are empty.
Yeah, that's a great headline. That's a really good headline. I mean, we've talked about that a lot, the reimagining of that type of experience. That's cool.
Yep.
David, how about you?
So I liked Macy's NFTs around the
Oh.
parade. I mean, listen, at this point, some of these struggling retailers need to monetize every asset that they have, right? And I thought it was a creative use. I frankly don't know that much about NFTs, but I know that retailers are going to have to start getting smarter because they are becoming a bigger and bigger part of the ecosystem, especially in the product development front. Thinking about how those sketches and things that become,
Right.
The classic apparel. I think there's a lot of opportunity for incrementality from a revenue perspective there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was surprised that wasn't your pick. Ann.
That was going to be my pick yesterday too, because we're already seeing headlines of like all these other retailers post Macy's Thanksgiving Day NFTs that are starting to come out with their own. I don't know that they're going to have the same success with them, but that's fine.
Right. Yeah. How long you can keep that going. I think it's a really good point.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, what about you?
Oh, that's a tough one. I could go with some of the good moves I think struggling retailers made, like Bed Bath, obviously double downing on private label. I would say a non-struggling retailer that I think made a strategic move is in line with what Dave said. And I think where NFTs do make sense is more in the luxury end, because you're basically monetizing what you already can leverage. And if something is desirable like Chanel versus possibly, a Macy's assortment, then I think that has legs and product extensions with an NFT. So like Chanel's partnership with NFTs, I give a big thumbs up. And I think you're going to see more and more of that starting in the luxury space, or with Nike, et cetera, who has all these properties that carry a lot of weight in the physical world and they can monetize in the non-physical world.
Okay, got it. So yours is more similar to David's. It's, so basically like the luxury move towards NFTs and exploring that arena. Okay, I'm surprised, you guys. I picked one that I actually thought was a clear winner that I thought you guys would all pick. All right, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I actually thought the best move was Sephora going into Kohl's.
Would you say Sephora is struggling?
No, Kohl's was struggling. Like, it's a good move for
true.
Kohl's.
Yeah.
Kohl's partnering with Sephora to bring them into their stores. And so, and the reason I said that, I'd like to give people background listening, like 200 stores they open inside of Kohl's by this fall, 850 planned for 2023. According to Placer AI, they're already seeing traffic differences in those stores to the tune of 6 percentage points to 30 percentage points.
Yeah.
So, when you look at that type of store rollout schedule here, that to me signals that there's a lot of dry powder in the keg. Now, Kohl's has, kind of been buoyed like everyone has this year from a stock price perspective. But I think that at least has some mileage for it to go to stem off kind of what is inevitable seemingly for the department store industry. So, and you're man, you and I are not linked up on anything. Why are you giving
I
me
mean,
this
they saw a
slant eye?
24% increase in traffic when you could return Amazon packages there too. But were people actually buying
Well, this
more
is
at
Placer
Kohl's?
though. This is Placer. This
Yeah.
is Kohl's data.
I know. I'm just saying though, like that's fine if they're going in for the Sephora thing, but what is Kohl's actually seeing as a result of that? Are people actually buying things in Kohl's when they're going there for Sephora, or are they getting their Sephora stuff and they're out?
Well, but it's still an additional purchase, like it's still Kohl's. You're buying Sephora at Kohl's. So you're still getting credit for that purchase.
Okay.
Okay. So you're skeptical of that. Wow. I thought that one was like a dead ringer. I thought Krista was going to say that for sure. Okay.
Didn't happen.
All right. Fine. I stand corrected. Best laid plans of mice and men sometimes just don't come together. All right. I get it. All right. We're going to close this out now. This is the topic, the award we've all been waiting for. And Kristen, let's start with you. That we're going to get a little predictive here. We're going to give tomorrow's headlines today, everybody. And so the question is, who wins the award for the headline you expect to dominate in the summer of 2022?
Blank buys Peloton. Who do you think I'm going to say?
Ooh, good question. I think you'll say Nike, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to go with Apple.
Oh, Apple. Yeah, right. That's a better pick.
I'm going to go with Apple. Another device in your home, right? All that access to all that potential content. I'm going with Apple buys Peloton.
Wow.
Okay. And why do you say that? Tell us more. Like, why do you think that could be something we're looking at here come summer 2022?
Well, I think Apple needs to, like everybody needs to look at different avenues for growth. And I think, they're looking to doing more forward integration versus integration on the supply chain side. And I think what they do really well actually is supply chain already, right? So I think, if one of the challenges is how do you make more chips for more bikes? I think that they have a great opportunity to be in the home of the customer through another device.
Wow.
Okay, good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, and the big thing there too is Peloton on the potential acquisition block. I like that a lot, just even as a topic. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, if they keep going down, Chris.
Right. There could be pressures for them.
There's going to be a lot of interested buyers.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. I'm still regretting the pick from last year wholeheartedly. Thank you for bringing that up again and pouring salt in my wounds. And all right, Ann, why don't you go next?
I think we're going to see Amazon opening clinics in the Amazon Fresh store, like moving more into the healthcare space
I love that one.
Yeah. I think if you think about what another convenient thing for Amazon customers is going to be in those stores, it's especially with like the waves that are still happening. Like if you could do COVID-19 testing in the Amazon Fresh store at like a minute clinic situation, like I think that could just explode, and Amazon has the capability to do that.
Interesting. See, I think that's a little too aggressive, but it's funny because I was actually thinking something similar to that, which would be similar to Amazon Starbucks. Another natural fit to me feels like Amazon Walgreens.
Yeah.
For those same
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That you think that's kind of along the same
Yeah.
line?
I think we'll see a big push into healthcare.
Or could you have Amazon delivery driver actually giving you a COVID test as they deliver your package?
Yeah, potentially. Man, they're not going to like that. They already pee in bottles. Like, I feel like they're going to be like, I don't have time to do this. Now I have to go in and COVID test a family.
Right.
Can I use your bathroom while I'm in there, please?
Yeah. I think I still prefer the lab coat over the delivery driver too. But all right, David, what about you?
So mine is late arriving inventory piles up, leading to the deepest markdowns in retail history.
Ooh.
That's a good one. All right. Say more. I mean, you kind of covered it already, but tell us more.
Yeah, no, listen, I think a lot of the supply chain challenges are going to result in retailers having over-ordered and getting it later than they wanted it. And frankly, they're going to end up with a bunch of coats arriving in March, and there's not much you can do, right? You're going to have to mark it down and liquidate. And I think we'll see, a very intense markdown period come spring.
And are people going to have the money to spend on stuff in March?
That's a good question.
Where's the consumer's mindset going to be come March and whatever is going on with the economy at that point in time?
Interest rates are going up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Lots of big questions coming up.
That's a good one.
All right. Okay. I'm kind of surprised. I got my last one here. So kind of surprised again. It didn't come up, but I think Amazon's going to open up its department store, and I think it's going to blow the socks off everyone. I think I've been thinking about this a lot. Initially, I thought it was going to be like the bargain basement return center thing, which I think it still might be a component of. But I'm actually starting to wonder if it's going to be RFID enabled for apparel. and a just walk out combination, where they have figured out the technology sync up between RFID and just walk out technology to blow our socks off of a department store iteration. That's my prediction in terms of what's
Well, it
what's coming
eliminates the
next.
smash and grab problem.
It does. Yeah, it does. 100%. It totally does.
I mean, there will be a way that somebody will figure
somebody
out
will
how
figure it
to
out,
like
but-
do that. But
Yeah, all the
interesting.
products that are stolen are identifiable. They've got
Yeah.
a camera on you coming in potentially. Yeah. I
The
mean,
Amazon driver just comes to the location where all the things been stolen and they just pick it up then? Does that end the give COVID test at the same time?
I guess, right? But yeah, but I think that one's been kind of, it was almost my under the radar headline too, because I just think that they're going to do something that's going to be
Yeah.
pretty impressive. So, all right. Well, before we close this out today, any regrets, anything you guys would think about doing differently? I admitted my shortcomings and said, you know what, I would pick that one. I'm curious. Any final thoughts to wrap things up? Kristen, Dave?
I do like your Kohl's Sephora pick. That's
Okay,
a-
thank you. Thank you
I-
for that.
I do like that one.
Okay.
Regrets, no remorse. as my
Great.
grade
Okay.
line.
Yes. Right. David, what about you? Anything that
Yeah,
you're
no,
thinking
I
about
think
in
that-
summary here?
The Amazon Starbucks partnership, I think, will actually end up being a bigger deal than GoPuff and Uber. But I'll stick with my guns.
All right.
Yeah.
Still sticking to it. Okay. How about you, Ann?
In the words of my father-in-law who passed away this year, we must move forward regardless of consequences, Chris. So no regrets. Let's get into 2022 and let's make it a really good year.
Yeah, let's put 2021 in our rear
Yes.
view. I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
All right. Well, that wraps us up. Happy birthday today to JB Smoove, Benjamin Bratt, and Kristen Ritter, whose turn as Jesse's girlfriend in Breaking Bad was quite underrated, in my opinion. Could I say something? Yeah.
Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, Kristen Ritter. She was Jesse's girlfriend. She like OD'd. It was really gross and
Oh
disgusting.
God,
Yeah.
no.
But anyway,
put that behind me.
all right, turn now. But guys, great having you guys on the show, Dave and Kristen. If people want to get in touch with you, get in contact with you, learn more about A&M Consumer and Retail Group, what's the best way for them to do that? Kristen.
Please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Kristen Kohler Burrows, or email is kburrows@alvarezandmarcel.com. And happy holidays, toasta to everyone.
Yeah.
Same here. David Ritter on LinkedIn and dritter@alvarezandmarcel.com. And if you want to learn more about our group, it is www.alvarezandmarcel-crg.com. Thank you and happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you. Happy holidays to you guys too. Thank you for all your support of us this past year. It's always great having you guys on our show. And remember, to those of you listening and watching, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, please make it Omni Talk. Our Fast Five podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news. And our twice weekly newsletter tells you the top 5 things you need to know each day, and also features special content exclusive to us and just for you. And we try really hard to make it fit all within the preview pane of your inbox. You can sign up today at www.omnitalk.blog. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. And it's been an emotional year to say the least.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else. So
Aw.
thank you for everything you've done this year. Happy holidays to all our listeners.
Yes.
Like I said before, we're off for the next 2 weeks, returning in January with a bang. And of course, as always, be careful out there.
The Omni Talk Fast Five is brought to you with the help and support of the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consultant firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities towards their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Takeoff. Takeoff is transforming grocery by empowering grocers to thrive online. The key is micro-fulfillment, small robotic fulfillment centers that can be leveraged at a hyper-local scale. Takeoff also offers a robust software suite so grocers can seamlessly integrate the robotic solution into their existing businesses. To learn more, visit takeoff.com.